I would like to be a teacher.
Be a mechanic.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher, 5th grader.
Or a fireman or a police.
Be a celebrity or a plastic surgeon.
A veterinarian.
I want to be a teacher.
I want to grow up to race cars.
Being really smart, going to college.
I want to work at the museum.
Some days I would like to be a teacher. A teacher, because I can help other kids be smarter.
Really, I didn't want to come to school because I knew everybody would pick on me because I couldn't read.
Every time she asked me a question, I'd say, "Where are you?" because I'm slow.
Well, some people struggle in my class, but they didn't struggle like I did, probably.
I want to learn how to read, because if I don't learn how to read, how am I going to read like a big chapter book or a book that I'm supposed to read in school?
So, where'd you go?
This is a story about children with disabilities and an ambitious initiative that is dramatically improving the quality of their instruction in reading and math.
Right, swipe.
For more than a decade, the North Carolina State Improvement Project has driven the delivery of research-validated instruction, which has transformed classroom practice and created new pathways to school success for thousands of children and their families. Educators know that the instructional methods that work for most students still leave many behind.
Approximately 60% of the kids will learn to read and read well, but 40% need really direct, explicit, systematic teaching of reading. And a lot of teachers hadn't been trained in that.
To address persistent gaps in achievement for students with disabilities, North Carolina pursued a series of competitive federal grants focused on improving outcomes through professional development for teachers. The North Carolina State Improvement Project would focus on teacher qualifications, instructional competencies, student performance, graduation rates, and parent involvement.
The guiding principle of the North Carolina State Improvement Project is professional development. We believe and have proven that if you can change the knowledge, skills, and dispositions of teachers to believe they can impact students and give them the tools to do that, indeed you can improve student outcomes.
The research was clear. To be effective, instruction for struggling learners must be explicit, systematic, cumulative, multisensory, and direct. Using this research, NCSIP created an intensive training course, first addressing literacy instruction and later math. A statewide professional development effort began in 2001, with educators from select regions attending the week-long training. Many would go on to become trainers in their own districts, a necessary step in building local capacity. The response to what was known as foundations training was swift and positive.
I went to the SIP training and was absolutely blown out of the water with it, because for the first time, and I've been teaching 25 years, here was something telling me how I needed to teach reading to my special ed children.
It does get into the strategies, but it also gets into the causes of why kids aren't learning to read. And it gets into the research behind that and what works with these kids.
They need the phonemic awareness, they need the phonics, they need the fluency, they have to have the vocabulary, they've got to have that comprehension component.
Play a game.
And what we're teaching in Reading Foundations is when you do a lesson, you've got to have all those components.
As teachers implemented what they had learned in Foundations training, they saw significant results. News of success spread quickly, driving more participants to a network of NCSIP training centers and demonstration sites.
I think that the results we were seeing from the student progress data really kicked us into high gear and got us into more schools quickly. So growth did take on a more urgent pace, but we always wanted to keep it at a pace where we could maintain our fidelity to the goals of the project.
We've trained over 20,000 teachers over 10 years, and we're seeing a significant difference in what they believe that they can do for students.
Before teachers are involved in Math Foundations, one of the things that stands in the way of very good instruction is teachers' own lack of experience with this kind of conceptual teaching. If you asked American teachers what the key to solving this is going to be, a lot of them said 3 words: flip and multiply.
We were always taught how to do the math, but we never really understood why we were doing what we were doing. And those of us that were pretty good in math, we could make those connections on our own. But children that are struggling, they aren't making those connections.
And we got on the floor and I did a division problem with base 10 blocks. And their faces lit up. It made sense finally. The kids were getting it, but I needed to teach it this way.
They've touched the mathematical concepts. They own mathematical concepts. That hook allows my resource students to be able to access the standard course of study in a way that I was not able to do before the NC-SIP project.
Thank you, ma'am.
As the project gained momentum, NC-SIP consultants worked side by side with district personnel to customize local plans.
That we have moved in the right direction.
The 5-day training is just really the beginning of a really invigorating process. We start with a 5-year plan.
I think that with any initiative, the state sets the parameters. They're broad parameters, but within those parameters, there is a lot of flexibility.
That has impacted the sustainability of the grant, that we haven't come in and said, here's your plan, now follow this. They created the plan and we've done that along with them.
Local districts determine which critical needs to address first. In many, foundations training begins at the elementary level, but in some, initial efforts target middle and high school students. NC-SIP consultants also work with local educators to evaluate existing or new curricula.
And that's what we're trying to do, is to get every teacher equipped with knowledge to be able to match a research-based program or strategies and techniques with the students in their needs. If we're doing those things well and we're teaching consistently, we will and we do get results.
With the second grant, project leaders would sustain initial gains by ensuring that teachers were using research-based techniques in the way they were designed and proven to work. On-site support and fidelity checks enabled NC-SIP consultants and local coaches to check for consistency, model best practices, and provide feedback.
I like it.
That's great. I really like how you set and work with
We
them.
insist upon tracking the fidelity of the instructors in the rooms to either the reading model they have chosen or the mathematics model they have chosen, and that's conducted through 3 observations a year for each teacher. Those observations are submitted and documented and reviewed by the NC-SIP team.
The other benefit of the North Carolina SIP process is that we have teacher leaders within the district that are coaching our teachers right there beside them in the classroom to support them throughout the process. That means it's not a one-day sit and get professional development. It really has lasting power.
Well, let's count by 10.
I really like when our support folks watch us instruct and then either validate what we're doing well and even tell us, you know, oh, don't forget about this component of the lesson. You really need to sharpen up on this. I really appreciate that.
NC-SIP regional and annual meetings allow teachers to earn continuing education credits, share broader perspectives, and celebrate their students' achievements.
These were before the 3rd grade year.
NC-SIP analyzes multiple streams of data to ensure continual progress for students with disabilities.
Well, the trend line continues to go up.
Our integrated proficiency for math school-wide was in the 60s. Within 4 years, we were nearly 90% proficient.
Out of 112 systems, we were 100th. EOG scores for exceptional children. Last year, we were 34th.
The year before in Hanover County was the first year our exceptional children student as a group
met AYP, so that was awesome.
Last year, my second graders went up, and each one of them went through the EC program, actually passed the EOGs at the end of the year. That was a wonderful success story for my students and for me.
She's able to do her homework on her own, and now I just check behind her to make sure it was done.
When he went to 6th grade, I started seeing it little by little. But this year, he has literally taken off.
The confidence he gained in reading gave him the confidence to try out for Math 24, and he actually won an award for our school last year.
We are constantly being approached by other states about the success of our students with disabilities, and what are we doing in North Carolina to impact the outcomes in such a dramatic way.
Very good. So far, my first mid-progress report, I had straight A's.
It's changed. It's changed a lot. I can read better and clear.
And then I got a correct answer. My heart's like beeping so badly, like, oh, wow.
Today, NC-SIP is working to increase local capacity, strengthen parent involvement, and reach pre-service teachers with foundations training before they enter the classroom.
I look forward to the day when all universities and institutions of higher ed prepare teachers to use scientifically based research instruction. And I think that NC-SIP is the first step in making that possibility a reality.
They're all 6. Yeah.
NC-SIP transforms special education wherever it takes root. With future funding uncertain, project leaders race to bring NC-SIP's proven model and exciting results to every district in the state.
That model is a very sound research-based model, and it is replicable. It's valid, so it's replicable regardless of the size of the LEA, the demographics in the LEA. We know it works.
We provide strategies that teachers can use immediately in their classroom. There's no way you can leave this program and not change your instruction.
It has been a foundation for me, and I think a foundation for a lot of other people.
To reduce the dropout rate and keep these children in school that were frustrated and couldn't read, couldn't write, we were losing them. We were losing a generation of children.
When I see a child who couldn't read anything go to reading sentences and stories and books and begging to read and say, can I have the longest sentence every time? It's wonderful.
Every day it's like, whew, can't wait to go, can't wait to get in the classrooms and see what's happening. I just can't, it's really something that you can't describe. People need to come see it.
For teachers to feel successful in doing their jobs and reaching children, and for children to feel successful with their learning, that's a building administrator's dream.
We've seen it work here, and I believe in the process.
We have changed the philosophy of how educators and hopefully the adult community thinks about students with disabilities. Students with disabilities are learners. They can learn at high levels.
I am very pleased that I've had the opportunity to work with our personnel in the Division of Exceptional Children. And NC-SIP is one example of how, when we work together, we really can lift all students' achievement.
The North Carolina State Improvement Project, breaking down barriers.
I felt kind of embarrassed about reading, but I volunteered anyway, because I wanted to get better at reading.
Replacing struggle with success.
I started to read more and more. I understood what I was reading.
Turning dreams into reality.
I felt like nervous and then I started to feel hopeful.
It has changed my life of being able to read easier now.
Thank you. Thanks. Like how she taught me so many ways, so many strategies. She just does it in a fun way. Miss Clark's like just the best teacher of reading ever for me. Thank you for helping me learn how to read. Thank you for helping me with math.
Thank you, and I hope you can give other students around me just as much as help as you did us.
Miss Bolin and Miss Clark helped me so much. Thank you. Reading's important because it makes your brain work. Thank you.
She's the greatest teacher in the world to me, because she
Well, she helps me a lot on math, and she helps me on reading, and she never gave up.